Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So, some people really liked the videos where I did outside when I was out traveling, and so I decided I'd go ahead and give a few videos a try on just kind of out and about. This is it's kind of a bad day to test this because it's quite windy, and in fact I wanted to record the video at a picnic table at a park not too far from walking distance from my office, but it's so windy out, I'm like, yeah, it's just going to get bad quality. So I found this little cul-de-sac down in the woods that as the wind comes by, it usually flies a little above, so you'll hear the tops of the trees rustling a little bit, but you won't hear quite as much of the wind. If there's a huge gust, then we're going to go ahead and figure something out from there. And, you know, if the audio quality is poor, then I'll just know not to record outside. You know, I'll just pick the calmer days to record. This kind of reminds me of when I lived in Wyoming, which is about the windiest place I've ever lived, and consequently, I hate wind. So the fact that I stayed in Wyoming so long was actually quite shocking. But today we're just going to do a real quick opinion piece, and I do still plan on doing another Linux video later on tonight. But what I'm going to talk about today is that the restricted filter in YouTube seems to be blocking a few of my videos. Not a lot, literally a few. I found 3 videos that were being blocked by the YouTube filters. And really one of those, I understand why it got blocked, although if you actually watched it, it's not worthy of being blocked. But based on the keywords and the titles, I can fully understand why it was. The other 2, no idea on that. And so you can also see here I'm experimenting with some things like putting in some banners. Just a quick note, I did have to drop the camera down to 720p again as I'm recording outside without a power source. The computer does consume a little bit less power when you take it off. I might be able to change those settings around. I just haven't bothered to try. I'm kind of right in the little woodsy area. There's a creek right by me. I wanted to try and put the creek in there, but I could not quite get there. So what caused me to initially think that even my channel is being hit by the filter issues coming on YouTube that's been quite controversial? Well, first is as soon as the filters were in place, my sub count dropped. For the first time ever, I actually went an entire day without any subs. In fact, I lost a bunch, but the amount of subs that were created ended up catching back up to 0 at least. So if you are watching this and you were subbed to the channel, go ahead and double check to make sure you're still subbed. Of course, I'm not a guy that sits here and say, "Oh, subscribe to my channel," blah blah blah. You guys know what you're doing. You know, if you want to sub to what I'm doing, you guys sub. If you don't sub, you don't sub. If you want to unsub. You know, if you want to sub. That's great. I just wanted to make it just make sure you knew that a whole bunch of people quite suspiciously were unsubbed from the account, and so just double check, make sure that wasn't you in the event you wanted to. The second reason is I'm to the point right now where when I upload a video, I usually have 100 hits on a video within 12 hours at least. And a few people asked specifically for a video on the kitchen studio setup that I was doing. I talked about that on Sunday. Well, I actually recorded the video Sunday and put it up yesterday afternoon. Now, it was not part of my regular schedule, but I did actually post 2 videos yesterday. One of those was just a real quick walkthrough. For some reason, that video is blocked on the filter. I'm literally walking around my kitchen with a camcorder showing you how I set up a wireless system. The thing only had like 70 views as of this morning, and it should definitely have been a lot higher, especially since several people have asked to see that setup. So if you did not see that particular video, it exists. Go double check, make sure your restricted filter is not turned on, and you should be able to see it. So then I decided I'd go back through and look at all of my videos, and I've turned on a restricted filter so I could see what's being blocked. Now, one person, I think the first real video I watched on the topic, I think, was from Computing Forever, and he had actually said, and at least for me it is erroneous, I'm not sure because he's in another country, it might be different from that, but he actually said if you're not logged in, the default is the filter is on. I found that not to be the case, at least for me, in my office. What I did is I logged into a different YouTube channel In fact, I logged into my kitchen YouTube channel, which exists, but there's no content on it yet. And I went down and I turned on the restricted mode, and that restricted out 3 videos from my channel. And I went on to another browser on another computer, which I'm not logged in and have never logged into a YouTube or Google account for that matter, and never changed any of the other settings. And in that instance, none of the videos were blocked, and that seemed to match my actual upload schedule. So, of course, the only videos that were not visible there were the ones that were, private uploads. I do use the Switch to Linux channel for simplicity when I'm doing uploads for clients. I throw them up there under a private view. But what caught my attention is the fact that there were some videos that I had that were not getting nearly the views. Now, the other 2 videos, another one I do not understand is I did that opinion piece on Microsoft does not patch their computers. I did that, 5 or so weeks ago, I think, somewhere around there. And that one there has a lot of hits, of course, because this filter system was not put in, and that thing got tons of hits, about 200 hits within the first half a day even. That one is now blocked by the restricted filters. I have no idea. All I'm doing is saying, hey, why is Microsoft not patching stuff? And then the one that I understand why they blocked it, although if you actually watched it, it's not really worthy of being blocked, but it's one of my tinfoil hat times on lists and restrictions. And I imagine that they blocked it because the word Muslim does appear in that. And what I said in that video is, and as you know, I am a Christian, but I made the defense to say, no, we don't need to be creating lists of Muslims. We don't need to be creating lists of anybody, and this includes you advertisers. We do not need you to be creating all these sorts of lists. You want advertising? Fine, you can advertise to me. Tell me what you got. Tell me why I might want it. Give me a good, reasonable argument. But don't sit there and put it in front of me so much. Don't put me on a list of people to target for your particular product because you think I may have a weak spot for it. And, I'll eventually buy into it if I get it enough. And that's really what's going on. So, I still stand, by the way, by my video on Sunday where I talked about just start now. Just get started on YouTube now. I still stand by that because, yes, 3 of my 240-something videos were blocked by the restricted filter. Maybe eventually the restricted filter is going to get turned on. Now, I also know, though, that this setup here, that video is going to be blocked from some of my friends who stay perpetually logged into school accounts. So even those friends of mine who are even subbed to my channel will not find those particular videos if they're looking for them. And that's the challenge. And of course, being as that they're logged into a system, the administrator turns on that restricted mode. And I'd be curious to know, in fact, I might ask to see what he sees when I see him next. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that the restriction is affecting even Switch to Linux. And of course, I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to produce an audience. I'm really trying to and frankly, I keep things very friendly. I try to keep things neutral. Obviously, some political stuff comes up every now and again. Some religious stuff comes up every now and again. But I'm a very, very balanced person. I voted for Trump, but I think half of the things he's doing right now makes me lose my mind. Like, what's going on? But there's a lot of things going on that I agree with. And so, I keep a strong balance. I'm not like a fanboy one way or the other. Even regarding this channel is Switched to Linux, about making a change to Linux wherever and whenever you can. But I also get people I can't do this because I got some Windows programs. Well, that's great. Keep some Windows programs going. Have another hard drive or a partition. For the longest time, I ran Linux just on external hard drives, and that works great. I did my work on Windows, plug in the external hard drive, and I did my fun evening personal stuff on Linux at night. That's cool. Keep that balance. And I'm not sitting here going, nobody should ever use Windows. What I'm saying is, Windows need to get a reality check in some of their client base. And right now, that's what I'm calling YouTube to do, is have a little bit of a reality check in what you're doing. Because you blocked a video on my restricted filters. You block a video where I show you how to set up a wireless microphone to a Linux computer. Yeah, there's nothing in that should even possibly come close to being restricted on YouTube. Now, Microsoft not patching stuff, No, I don't think you should block that at all. Muslim lists and registries and stuff like that, the tinfoil hat time, go check out that video. It's awesome. If you watch it, man, there's no reason it should be blocked. However, I can understand that one because of simply the titles and the keywords in there, because I talked about that controversial issue of, there was a list of Muslims that was kept for a long time, and to his great credit, Obama had destroyed that list right before leaving the White House, and that was a good thing to do. And so I talk about the dangers of any such lists. On that particular video, it was a good video, but it is now blocked under the restricted filter. So you won't find it if you have the restricted filter set on. But why would they block a video about setting up a kitchen studio? I don't know. I did that video, and what caused me to wonder is I usually upload a video, and, I'll get a lot of people looking at it. And it had 70 views in a day and a half, and so that was really what I wanted to talk about today, is that restricted filter that they're doing is even affecting us over here at Switched to Linux. And so, with that being said, and what I'm trying to do is find my mouse here. There we are. There we are. Okay. So, with all that being said, double check, make sure that your restricted filters are turned off unless you have a very specific reason to turn them on, because the restricted filters are blocking some of my videos. Why? I have no idea, but it's happening. And the sad reality of the matter is that, I'm trying to build a platform on this. I'm trying to develop a business out of this. I'm trying to get to the point where I can be a little bit more self-sustaining because I have a little bit of extra income coming in. Am I looking to make millions and millions? No. But, we all got to eat. We all got to pay our bills. And when my videos are blocked, and I guess that's another thing. I'll bring this up as well. Half of the live streams that I've done, the monetization was demonetized for a period of time. Now, all of those I was able to challenge and get remonetized. But, if I don't catch that in enough time, and 1,000 views goes by and I don't recognize that a video was temporarily demonetized, to me, that's like, you lose a little bit of what you're working for. And this is why people like Eli, the computer guy, are making plans to get off of YouTube. I still think it's a great setup to get started. I think it's a great place to start an audience, but do I consider it the long-term most viable strategy? I actually don't. But I'm not going to criticize it. I'm not going to say don't do it. I'm not going to say jump off of it. And I have no plans to leave YouTube. But what I do want to say is that we got to watch out for what's going on, and, be cognizant that you may have had restricted filters turned on. And actually, that's what I had my friend do. He couldn't find some of the videos that I was doing because of that. And this was a while ago. Now, he's logged into a Google account, so we just had him log out of the Google account, and then he could see the videos again. I fear we may be getting to the point where it is disabled, and maybe computing forever. Maybe in his country that is the case, where if you're not logged into YouTube, your restricted filter is automatically on. Now, he says in that video that, and if I remember, I'll link to it. He says in that video that you have to log into YouTube and able to turn that off. That's not my experience at this point in time. Of course, he is in a European Union's country. I am not. And so that might make the difference. So I'm not going to say he's wrong. I'm going to say in my context, what I've found, I have not found that be the case. But I fear that could become the case down the road. So also, if you were looking for that video on the kitchen studio setup, I did post it. It did not get a lot of views, and I think probably because of that. And I'll just warn you, it is definitely not the regular quality of video that I do, but that's okay. Like I said, I simply had everything set up, including all my cameras, and so I just got my 720p crappy camcorder off the shelf and just did a quick walkthrough. Not a very good video, but you know what? It worked. I just showed you the setup and just how things worked. I didn't actually show you how to do all of the setup stuff. Maybe we might do that if I get enough people wanting to know, but I showed you at least what I'm doing. So with all that being said, this is just a quick outdoor test. I'm out here in a little bit of a cul-de-sac in the woods. I got a stream over here. Of course, there's some houses and a development up this way, but, that's all right. I kind of like this out here, and who knows? Maybe I'll try and do a philosophy video outside once a week or something. I don't know. See what happens. See what people think. But anyway, all that being said, thanks for watching, and I will be doing some other Linux video stuff here tonight as well. I'm thinking I'm going to talk about Ubuntu tomorrow, since their beta release comes out, late tonight / tomorrow is when their final beta is released. And I want to have a look at what that final beta for 17.04 looks like, and I'll post that video. I thought that was today, but it's tomorrow, so I'll do that video tomorrow night. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do tonight, but we'll figure something out. So with all that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.